We are live. Welcome. Good morning. Happy Saturday. If you are here on recording, because nobody's going to be here live yet, I just went live. Make sure. Oh man, that was supposed to be a super good GIF. Where'd it go? Oh man, it messed up. It was supposed to say hey in the comments, and then it was supposed to have this little guy full screen. Well, things don't always go as planned. Hope you're doing super good. We're going to talk a little bit about the 8 levels of Super Nurse and a little bit about why it's that way. Hope to have a little bit of a discourse, talk about what each level or what each thing to do at each level is, why it's there, and just rock and roll. So if we've never met before, my name is Ryan. I am the head coach and owner of RM Body Transformations, and it is our mission to impact 10 million people, but we're doing it through creating 1,000 super nurses. And we're going to define what a super nurse is today, and by doing that, we're going to have our little dent on the healthcare industry, since nurses are the backbone of healthcare. Underpaid, underappreciated. So let's go into this together. If you are here with me, feel free to let me know in the chat. I'm going to tag everyone as well. You guys know the drill. I'm going to tag everyone and let them know that we are live. If you are jumping in on a replay, usually you start this like just 2 minutes in advance because it takes a second for people to be notified. All right. Bam! So we'll wait 30 seconds and then we'll hop in. As always, this is interactive, right? So the point is not to have me just here talking at you. Hopefully I can inspire a little bit of motivation, maybe a strategy, maybe a new belief, a frame of thinking that can help you on your journey. But please, if anything sticks out to you, let me know in the comments, right? Let me know. Let's have a conversation about it. Even if it's just a amen, hallelujah, right? Even something. So I know I'm not alone and going crazy in my room. All right. Let's exit out of that, create some space. All right. Very good. Ooh, I can see some eyeballs. Let's jump in. I appreciate you guys joining me on a Saturday. All right. So we talked about this earlier in the week, this idea of creating these 8 levels to Super Nurse. And the reason for that is our brain is like a heat-seeking missile. If we can give it a clear target, it is so much easier to create or think of or just be pulled towards the actions that will get us there, right? Our brains are, I think it's considered, our brains are like a servo mechanism, right? If you've ever seen like a heat-seeking bomb or heard about them, right? They go where the heat is. It's the same thing. Like we are pulled towards our outcomes. So that's why on each one of these, we have what the level is and what you need to do to achieve it in the simplest way possible. So let's start off. Level 1. Level 1 is what we're calling a burnt out nurse, right? A burnt out nurse usually is not doing these things here, right? Now it is possible to be at level 2, 3, 4. It's possible to even be above. But usually the people that, we're helping personally that are joining our program are people that are, level 1, 2, and 3. So usually people fall somewhere within here. And these are sleeping 42 hours a week or more. This is how you graduate level 1. Your protein is 0.5 times your goal weight in grams. Water is 0.5 times your goal weight in ounces. And your disempowering stress is a 7 or less. Why do I specify disempowering stress now? For a long time, we just called it stress. But the fact of the matter is, you have stress and disempowering stress. Stress that grows you is exercise. Disempowering stress is worry, fear, anxiety, sadness, and we call it anger as well, right? So disempowering emotions that drain our energy. Not saying that, we shouldn't feel them, but we want to get in the habit of feeling them less, which is beyond the scope of this video, but That's the outcome, which is what we're talking about today, the targets, right? You'll notice there are little numbers on the left side. These numbers signify how long you need to be at a level before you graduate to the next one officially, right? Before you can say, okay, I am now this next level, right? So once you have graduated level 1, you are now working actively on level 2 after 2 weeks. And that is sleeping now 49 hours weekly, which is an average of 7 a night. Protein kicks up a little bit, only a little bit, 0.6 times your goal weight in grams. Same with water for ounces. And your disempowering stress is less than a 6. You'll notice we haven't even talked about exercise. We haven't talked about many things because it's not the most important thing. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that we always want to identify the biggest lever. The biggest lever is always going to be the actions that you put the least amount of effort towards and give you the best result. You'll notice the first thing at the top of even level 1 in every category is sleep. Because when you get a good night's sleep, everything feels possible, right? Or things feel more possible, as long as you're not in a disempowered state. But everything feels possible. When you are getting a bad night's sleep, it's so much easier to be stuck in a disempowered state. And a disempowered state is just, disempowered, just you feeling one of those negative emotions I described earlier in a loop, and then you can't get out. So sleep is a fast track to making all this easier. So we do that. Why do we focus on protein? We focus on protein because yes, you need to be in a caloric deficit to start losing weight, but naturally, if you just increase your protein intake, you're going to naturally eat less fat and carbs. With the typical American diet, it's high fat, high carbs, low protein. So by focusing on one thing, protein, the other things go down naturally without any focus, right? It's a bigger domino to push. This is the way that I look at every area of my life personally as well. It's like I always look at the biggest lever, right? So that way I'm not, because I'm naturally lazy. I will say that 100%. I am naturally a lazy person. Like I don't like to work more than I have to. So I'm always trying to get leverage out of the actions I'm doing. And I bring that to you guys. Then we have disempowering stress, right? We talked about that. So 2 weeks, now you're in level 2. Fantastic. And I think this is cool. Whether you're a client or not, you now have a target. You now know where you're going next. And you know, more importantly, by the end of this video, the last place. Like this is where I'm going next. This is my next target, but this is my final target. And you can start to prepare for it as well, which is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. Could be alone. Then we have level 3. And I do see the eyeballs here. Thanks for the likes, guys. I appreciate it. Daniela, good to see you. Danielle, good to see you. Feel free to let me know you're here in the comments as well. It helps send it to more people in the group. Level 3, recharged. So recharged is now you're sleeping 56 hours a week weekly, right? Or 56 hours weekly. Your protein is hitting the upper target. This is the highest we aim for. You can go higher, but this is like the initial target. This is where diminishing returns really set in. 0.75 times your goal weight in grams. Water, same thing in ounces. Disempowering stress, you'll notice we've gone from 7 to 6 to 5. Stress is such an interesting thing, right? Disempowering stress specifically here. It is intangible, right? If you go to your doctor, or maybe not your doctor, that's a bad example. If you have two people, one person, they started a fitness journey to lose weight, and they just started exercising day one and started, focusing on a caloric deficit, but didn't do any like mindset stuff or didn't like focus on their stress levels. They just went harder, more, push, right? Because that's what they're used to, and that's what they focus on, the actions, the mechanics of weight loss instead of like the big picture. And, 1 month, they could be down, I don't know, let's say lost 2 pounds of fat per week, 8 pounds. Compare that with someone we're working with that maybe is down 5 pounds, right? Maybe 6, but 5. Because we're focused less on that and we're focused more on let's build the foundation, right? We talked about this before. Would you rather build, or would you rather, take all this time building a house? Let's say you got to that point in your life, got everything ready, you built the house, spent all the money on materials, on the builder, everything, and then 3 years into your house, it fell apart. That would suck, right? And let's say the guy built it in 3 months, where instead the guy comes to you and he says, well, hey, it's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to take 12 months, but this thing's gonna, your kids will be able to live here. The foundation's gonna be so strong it'll never crack. You'd go, I'll wait. It's the same thing here, right? We're not rushing to the result. We're making sure that the foundation is so strong you never have to start again. That's the game here, right? Appreciate the comments, Tianka. Good to see you. She says, hello, my work schedule keeps me from sleeping 7 to 8 hours straight. Hope my coach can give me some tips. Definitely. Tianka, let me, for you and for everyone out there as well, let me send over, I'm just going to put it in the comments here. I'm going to put it in the 56 hours a week. I'm going to put it in the comments. It's a three of my simple sleep hacks, and we can talk about that towards the end too. Just like simple things to increase your sleep. And you'll notice too that it's all about sleep weekly. Because like getting 8 hours of sleep straight, we have nurses that are working 12 hours straight, that are working 24 hours straight. Not possible to do it every single night, but there are ways to make it up. I will say too, I know you joined the program, Tianka. Congratulations, welcome in on the journey to super nurse. Let's do it. Happy to have you. And I think it was Sean. I think you met with Sean. Sean was telling me about it yesterday or the day before. So happy you're here. You're definitely in the right place if you want to break through. So once you've done level 3 for 4 weeks, okay, cool, you've graduated. And now we're moving on. So as we move on, we're going to level 4. Level 4 is what we're considered resilient, right? Now at level 4, how you pass level 4, how you graduate, 4 weeks, you'll notice that the numbers keep getting higher. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. And the reason is because as you add more to your plate, you're only adding about one new thing per week. And we're just making sure that it sticks, right? Because again, this isn't about jumping to level 8 week 2. Because you could, that's the thing, you could. But then it would most likely fall apart. We don't want that. That's why this is a year journey, right? In some cases, like our nurses are with us for multiple years. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Why? Because they want to keep going. Their goals, maybe their goals shift. They want to do more, or they just want to keep the accountability going. They want to make sure it never goes away, and that's fine. My pleasure, Tianka. Good to have you. So level 4, we're sleeping equal to or more than 56 hours a week. Protein hasn't changed. Water hasn't changed, right? Disempowering stress has gone down from a 5 to a 4, and we've added 1 day or less DES. What's a DES? It's a disempowering state. A disempowering state, we've already talked about it, but just in case anyone's new here, right? Disempowering state is any emotional state that drains your energy. So drains your energy and stops action. So we're talking about fear, we're talking about anger. Anger sometimes can spur action, but for a second, we're just going to call it disempowering because it drains your energy like gasoline. It burns off. It's a big fire, but burns off really quick, and then you're just left tired. And sadness, right? So we want to. It's okay to get there, right? Because life's going to happen, but you don't stay there, right? And again, I'm talking about outcomes right now. We could talk about how we do this, how to do this. There's a lot of strategies. But that's the outcome, is less than 1 day in a disempowering state. Because think about it. Why do people not get to their final goal? We already said this, everyone knows 100,000 times. You'll hear it until I'm blue in the face. It's because we stop. Why do we stop? We stop because we get discouraged, hence a disempowering state. So if we could get to the point, level 4, and you've been doing this for 4 weeks, if you could get to the point that you were never discouraged more than 1 day in a row, that would mean that you are on track 50% of the time at a minimum. What kind of body or life would you have if you were fit 50% of the time? Pretty good, honestly. 50%? That's pretty good. Now, granted, that's not where we're going to finish. We're going to be shooting for a lot higher than that, 80, 90%, but I don't believe in 100%. That's a little crazy. But this idea of never miss twice is really powerful, and we can apply that. Of course, we don't want to feel discouraged every other day, but you get the point. Level 5, so you've graduated. Yeah. Sleep stays the same, protein the same, water the same, disempowering stress the same. And I have not added actually the few things over here. I'm jumping to level 5, but we haven't talked about a few of these things. So you'll notice that level 3, we added resistance training. Now, the thing about resistance training is very interesting. I had somebody ask me this the other day because I was sharing this with them, one of our nurses. And they said, why start so low? 15 minutes a week? Will 15 minutes really do anything for me? Great question. The result of it? Negligible, right? I mean, you'll get something from it, but it's not going to be very noticeable. So why do we do it? It's not about the 15 minutes this week. It's about building the habit. Earlier in the week, I was talking to tons of our clients, just trying to solve obstacles and see what the main struggles are for the whole community. And one of the main ones was I can't stick to my exercise. I just have excuses, and I'm tired some days, and I don't know how to overcome it. And my best suggestion for that is start smaller, right? How do you bite an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And we know that human nature is always going to be to move away from pain towards pleasure and conserve energy. So if you're going from no exercise to exercise, what is for 30, 40 minutes, what is exercise? It's moderate pain at the minimum. If you're doing something crazy, it's high pain, but like moderate pain, pleasure, low, right? Unless you're leveraging things like the right music, the right environment, which we do, right? To make it even easier. But like pleasure is going to be like, if you don't do any of that, super low, and you do not conserve energy doing exercise, right? It's a stressor, a positive stressor, but a stressor nonetheless. So that requires tremendous amount of willpower to do, which I don't like. Willpower does not last. Anything that requires willpower, I do not like, because the chance of following through are low. And then if we don't follow through, that's when the disempowering states kick in, because we're like, oh man, I thought I was committed, but I'm not. My actions don't show that I am. And again, we're trying to stop the chatter, right? We're trying to get you back in control. So 15 minutes a week is literally 2 minutes a day. And that's how I would do it. I wouldn't say you're going to start exercising 15 minutes one day a week. No, make it a habit. I much prefer a daily habit, even if it's less effective, right? 2 minutes a day. That's it. 2 minutes a day. And then at the end of those 2 minutes, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Literally, what I would recommend for a lot of clients and a lot of people when they start is just start with 1 minute of planks. Drop to your knees, come back up as you need, 1 minute, and then 1 minute of squats. That's it. That's your workout. And then you ask yourself at the end of those 2 minutes, can I do more? And if the answer is yes, fine. Do another set. And then ask yourself again and feel amazing if you do it. 30% of the time, if you chose to do more, you should feel amazing. You should celebrate. This is awesome, right? Like that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a positive feedback loop for exercise, not a negative one. Like, oh man, I couldn't last 30 minutes, so I'm a failure. No, you're killing it, right? Because it's not about today, tomorrow, next week, next month, it's not even about next year. It's not. This is about the next decade, the next 5 decades, right? Let's keep going. Hopefully this is making sense. If you're here live on recording, give me an amen in the comments if you agree. So as we go to level 4, you'll notice that we have a couple new things here. The first one is self-talk. So self-talk, why would self-talk matter? Self-talk is your inner dialogue, right? And that, if you're talking about getting into a disempowered state, self-talk can perpetuate it. So think about, let's say you felt discouraged because you hop on the scale, right? You hop on the scale, you've been doing everything you should be doing, and it goes up. Now, because it's going up doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're gaining fat. It could very well mean that you're gaining lean body mass, right? Water, muscle, bone. And you are losing fat, but it's just you're gaining more lean body mass at a faster rate that you're losing fat mass. That can't last forever, but you hop on the scale nonetheless, and it's there, and you feel discouraged. If your self-talk has improved to the point that it's a 6 or higher or 7 or higher, you'll see that, and you'll go, well, hey, that sucks. I wanted it to be lower, but you'll start to switch. Well, but I have been doing everything, I have been doing all my actions, so I can feel proud about that. And I did do this and I did do that. And you'll start to do the same mental reframing that we as coaches do with you when we talk with you, daily or weekly. This is how you, again, start to make things consistent forever, right? So self-talk is over a 6. How do we do it? A lot of different ways. But yeah, self-talk is so crucial. One of the easiest ways, like when you're thinking about self-talk, is your self-talk is your thinking, right? What controls your thinking? One thing. It's only one thing. It's your input. And your input is everything that you're exposed to through all your senses, right? And a lot of it is in media, because that's where we spend a lot of our time, right? It's friends and family, it's who we talk to. So you just want to ask yourself, like, what is your input? Is it disempowering, empowering, or neutral? If you have a disempowering self-talk, you need even more attention for empowering media to change your mind. Because, so I'll give you a quick story really fast. When I was 15 years old, 13 is when I really started diving into personal development. And there was a tape by Zig Ziglar. It's called Born to Win. And my self-esteem was so bad at that point that I remember it starts off, he goes, "My name's Zig Ziglar, and I'm just here to tell you that you are, in fact, born to win. You are endowed with the seeds of greatness. You can be a great one." And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, man, if he knew I'd be listening to this, he wouldn't have said that. That's how down I was feeling about myself. So guess what? I needed a lot of it. I needed a lot of it. And I did. I listened pretty much every moment I could. When I wasn't in school, morning on the way to the school in the morning on the bus with my little Walkman and my headphones, people would come over. They'd be like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, Eminem? No joke. I'd be like, Eminem? They'd be like, "Oh, cool, man." I'd be like, "Yeah." But no, I was listening to Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and, all these guys to start to believe something different about what was possible for me. So appreciate the amen, Tianka. Let's go. So that's, self-talk. You'll notice that resistance moves up to 30 minutes weekly. And then you'll notice another thing here, cheap dopamine. What's that? Less than 25 hours a week. So this is something that we haven't really talked about in our program to great lengths, but it's something that I 100% believe in. And with my clients that really ascend to the highest levels, what we're calling a super nurse, all do this. Cheap dopamine is anything you do that is low pain, high pleasure, and conserves energy. Examples: Netflix, scrolling on TikTok, food, like snack food that you don't have to prepare, that's just there in your pantry, candy, right? Right? It's so easy if it's in your pantry, low pain, conserves energy. You don't need to cook, you don't need to do it, and you feel really good by eating it, right? You feel good in the moment, not after. So what we want to try to do is I don't want to say avoid, but limit, right? Watching 30 minutes of TikToks once a week isn't going to change your life too much, right? It's not for the worse. But I believe it's a sliding scale. When you do those actions consistently, and the more you do them, the more you're teaching your brain that dopamine, in this case, the feel-good chemical, should be easy to achieve. Everything that you want in life, everything that you've ever, it's that old quote, right? Everything worth getting is hard, to an extent, right? So why would we train our brain? Because that's what we're doing. Every action we do, we're training our brain one way or another. Why would we train our brain that feeling good should be, or if not feeling good should be easy, but essentially, yeah, that dopamine, it should release a lot of dopamine from no effort, because then you're trapped. If that's a choice, if that's an option, TikTok, scrolling, all this stuff, Netflix, all the time, when things get hard, you'll just choose that. And I'm not sitting on I'm not standing on a ivory tower saying this. I've struggled with this my whole life. I grew up playing video games during a time that, you know, I did not feel like good about my life. Even as a kid, I felt my parents didn't neglect me, but they were busy, right? Like they always fed me food and stuff, but like I was alone a lot of the time. I felt alone a lot of the time. And I coped with that with video games. So from an early age, I taught my brain that when you don't feel good, you play video games. Now, video games are low effort, energy conserving, high pleasure activities. It got so bad that when I was in high school, or early high school, before I really kicked off my personal development journey, I was playing video games 12 hours a day. Like it was insane. Like I wasn't sleeping as much. I was just like hardcore addicted, right? So much so that I remember I was 14 or 15 years old, and my internet went out in my house because I played this game called World of Warcraft. It was you needed internet to play, and my neighbor, had internet and played the same game. I tried going into his house, right? He wasn't home. I literally climbed as a 15-year-old like up the side of his house and like went in a window to play on his computer when he was, I don't know, at school or something, right? Like I know what it's like to be tempted to do these things. Every time in my life that I've ever allowed it to be an option, it happens more and more and more frequently. So my answer to that is just don't make it an option. And I do the same thing with food, right? I'm not like I eat ice cream, I eat all those things. That's fine. There's no restriction there in my opinion, right? But I just don't keep it in the house because like essentially if you keep it in the house, you have to be perfect 24 hours a day to not eat it. But instead, if you're at home and we know human nature is to conserve energy, low pain, high pleasure, and you really want it, you have to leave the house to get it. You have to use a tremendous amount of energy to go do it. And the majority of the time, you won't go do it. Right? Like we have this rule in our house. We do not order junk food through Uber Eats. It's not possible. It's not even an option. Why? Because again, we're lowering the threshold of pain, which makes it easier to do. So there are things that I believe it's like we do this and we don't do that, right? Now I don't believe again we should cut out all sweets. I think we should enjoy life, right? But we don't bring it into our everyday life. We can go get it though, Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if any of that makes sense. Laura says, hey Ryan, hey, what's up? I have a question. I'm always here hit me with your questions. True, yeah. That's something that's helped me greatly. So when we think about cheap dopamine, level 4, we're going to reduce that to like 25 hours a week. And the cool thing is, as you start doing these other things, you feel like you don't need it as much, because a lot of the reasons we use cheap dopamine are to distract ourselves because we're trying to cope from something that doesn't feel good. Level 5, we've done this. Now it's 8 weeks. We've done this consistently. Self-talk's over 7, cheap dopamine's under 20 hours. Resistance training's over an hour weekly. We've built up from 2 minutes a day to, now that's close to like 10 minutes a day, right? A little less. And at that point, you might even be moving to 3 days a week, 20 minutes, right? There's a lot of different ways to do it. Depends on you and your schedule. You got to personalize it. Level 6, 8 weeks. Sleep's the same, protein, water, disempowering stress, lower than a 3. And you're only staying in a disempowering state for 4 hours or less, right? Now, this could be less, but again, it's building the habits of I feel the way I feel, I'm not going to stay here, right? Like a lot of, not us, but a lot of people believe, and not you either, but a lot of people believe that it takes time to, like they say, time heals all wounds, and that, it just needs time. And that can be true in some cases. However, in more acute cases, I believe you don't need to be in the rut long. Look at the typical cycle of a person losing weight. They start, they, get initial results. Life happens, they plateau, discouraged, whatever it is. They keep going for a little bit longer, but eventually the pain becomes too big. They're not getting the results they want. The pleasure's low. Energy conservation is very not there. So they stop. And then they feel that level of discouragement for, I don't know, months. It doesn't have to be that way. They could feel discouraged for a day and then hop right back with the right strategy or the right approach, but we don't. We stay in that rut long, and we don't want to imagine if every time you were ever discouraged again, you felt empowered again the next day. Like, it's funny. I remember I was talking to a friend of mine, and this friend specifically is starting his like entrepreneurial journey, and he's a little younger than me, and he's like, man, it makes sense why people don't do this, because essentially as an entrepreneur, every day when you're starting to build it, you just have to get punched in the face and then like put on a smile and keep moving forward. You can't feel discouraged longer than a day, because if you do, you'll have no business, right? And like you'll never gain momentum and be able to break through. And it's the same thing with our bodies. People that don't master their fitness in their early life, which is the majority of people, right? It just means that now we have to, I had a certain thing to say, but I got distracted because I saw a comment came in and I started reading it. But it just means that we have to do it now. And, it's a little bit harder now because we have other responsibilities, but it's still very possible. It makes it even more important to not be disempowered longer than a day. It's crucial. Anyway, we see self-talk go up to an 8 or more, cheap dopamine lower than 15 hours a week, and we'll go on to the next one. All right, last two. Level 7, thriving. So sleep 56 hours a week or more, protein 0.75 times goal weight. Water, again, hasn't changed. Disempowering stress, 3 or less on average. This is an average. And I'm not saying we don't have bad days. That's not the point. Like, I had a bad day, I had a disempowering, we'll call it session on a Wednesday. I had a disempowering session, right? Like, my body was just telling me, like, I need to rest. And I was feeling a certain way. I was feeling hurt about something that happened. And that hurt made me withdraw. And I was definitely in a disempowered state. But again, I didn't stay there. And I will say, like, yeah, I scrolled my YouTube shorts for 30 minutes. But then, I kind of came back to my senses. I'm like, what can help me get out of this? And started taking action, took a shower, took a warm shower, felt better, started listening to, again, input. One of my go-tos when I'm in a disempowered state is watching, Tony Robbins. I listen to the same stuff I listened to when I was a kid, and it brings me back to that, like, that level of, or at least sparks an idea, because the fact is, like, when we're feeling disempowered, a lot of the time we just feel alone, and like no one else, like, no one else feels the way we feel. But the fact is, like, everyone experiences this so often. And that's why we have this group, right? Like, when you're feeling disempowered, we want to shy away. That's human nature. We don't want to be seen. But the fact of the matter is, when you are hurting and when you're in this disempowered state is when you need to reach out the most, right? So that's when you need to reach out to your coach. That's when you need to reach out to a friend. That's when you need to reach out, right? Super important. All right. Comment came in. Laura says, when I sleep, I put on a meditation called The Honest Guys. That's nice. This is on my phone, yet we are supposed to charge the phone in a different room. How? Good question. So obviously there's gray area. If you have a Bluetooth, like, so I do this. I do a deep rest, non-sleep deep rest meditation before bed, 20 minutes. and I put my headphones in, and my phone is plugged in another room. I have wireless headphones. So I have it plugged in the kitchen, and then I go to the bedroom, and that's what I do. Easy peasy. And then when I'm done, I just click the button, put it on my nightstand. So that's how I do it. But, if you have a wired headphone, then you wouldn't be able to. But again, so that's another example of like avoiding low pain, high pleasure, conserving energy activities. It's like, if you have your phone right next to you, how easy is it to just be like, oh, I can't sleep. It feels good to look at it. It feels good to scroll. If it's all the way in the kitchen, it's harder to do, right? Or like, I'll say this too, man, we have so many automatic habits. Like, for a long time, I have my old phone, and I have the camera, which is my current phone right now that I carry around with me. I have no social media on that phone. Zero. All my social media is on my laptop and on this phone, right? You can see it. It's all here, right? All my social media. I don't put it on that phone. Why? Because the most valuable asset you have is your attention, and then you have your time. But your attention is super important. And I remember there was a time after I deleted it, I realized how much of a pacifier I was using social media for. I'd be walking around, I'd be, going to the bathroom, I'd be just like walking from one place to another, whatever it is, or whenever I felt a moment of discomfort, I would take out my phone, literally without thinking. I would only become aware of it after this action. But I would pull out my phone, and at the time, I didn't have any apps on my phone. They were all like hidden off the home screen. So I would scroll to the left or the right or something. There you go, the right. And I would click where I knew it was, and it would open, right? Now, once I got rid of them, I would go here, and then I'd be like, oh, wait, I don't even have them. Wait, what am I doing? Crazy. And now it doesn't happen because my brain knows there's nothing there for me, right? Crazy. Super interesting. So let's keep going. Level 8, sleep more than 56 hours a week. Protein stays the same. Water stays the same. Disempowering stress, lesser than a 3. 1 hour in a disempowering state. I'll be honest with you. This is something I'm still working on to this day. I fluctuate between level 7 and level 8, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Because there are times I'm level 8 consistent, but it's the 1 hour disempowering state that gets me. But I'm working on it. I'm still developing, strategies. I think we have to grow, and then we have to grow based on our circumstances in life. So you could call me a level 8 for the majority of my life until I had my son. And then when I had my son, things shifted, right? And there was a regression, and that's okay. I just had to then, build back up. We have to change our system, right? Our system is just the things that we do repeatedly every day, right? We have to change our system based on life conditions, because the system you create today won't be the system you use 10 years from now unless your life doesn't change at all. And if it doesn't, that's fine. But the majority of us are going to have a job change. Our hours are going to change. The stress will change in the job. We'll have another child. A parent will get sick and we'll need to start taking care of them. Like, all of these things that are not just short-term things for a week or two, but like years and, big changes, years changes. You have to change your system. So, that's something I talk about a lot. It's like you will never create the perfect system. It doesn't exist. You will create a great system for your life right now. But there's a reason that I'm hesitant to create like, hey, here is how the perfect way to achieve 56 hours of sleep a week, right? Because it's like, in that plan, it'll be like sleep 9 hours a night. And then, then somebody else is like, I can't do that. Oh man, therefore, I guess this is impossible for me. No, right? Like, of course it's possible for you. We just have to personalize it, right? Lynn Ann, good to see you. Good to see you. Lynn Ann says, expect a withdrawal period when you remove social media. Yeah. And there was, and I still get social media, right? Here we are. This is social. This is my social media. But, and I do it like I upload all the content for all the other channels, and I see it, but I just don't carry it around, right? I think, have you guys know Chat GPT, right? So it's like you have Chat GPT. I was playing around with it the other day and I asked it, hey, if you were trying to sabotage, let me see if I can pull up the post. Let me see if I can pull it up. Any questions on any of this? Feel free to let me know. Let me pull this up. Instagram. All right. If you guys haven't seen the latest meme that I posted, it's hilarious. All right, here we go. I'm just trying to pull this up for us here. So it's here. So I asked, if you were Satan and you wanted to stop people from reaching their full potential, being the best they could be for their kids, right? What would you do? And this is what he said. Right? This is what it said. It would distraction by comfort. I'd make people prioritize people over comfort. I'm sorry, comfort over growth. Keep them entertained with endless TV, social media scrolling, or mindless distractions, so they never feel the need to push themselves or face challenges. And again, that aligns with the triad that we've talked about. Self-doubt. I'd whisper thoughts of doubt and inadequacy. That's self-talk, right? Make them feel they weren't capable of achieving more. Thinking, why bother? It's too late for me. I'd have them procrastinate. I'd convince them there's always tomorrow. No worry, small delays become big setbacks over time, and they'll never get around to pursuing their goals. Comparison trap. I'd encourage constant comparison to others, making them feel inferior or unworthy, killing motivation before it even starts. Excuses, and really quick, on number 4, comparison can be powerful in an empowering way or can be disempowering. He's talking about it, or the Chat GPT is talking about it in a disempowering way. And it is comparison, but I do believe you can gain inspiration from seeing other people's stories that are like yours. Because when you see someone that has gone to where you want to get to and you identify with that person, like in this group, 99% of our clients are nurses. So it's like, or 98. So it's like any success story you see, you're like, okay, like, how did they do it? Like they did it with the stress and everything attached. How? And then you start to gain inspiration that you can too. Excuses. I'd provide a buffet of excuses, like lack of time, energy, or resources. Rationalize why they can't improve themselves and be present. Perfectionism, right? Again, all these things that this made-up devil would do to stop people is the opposite of what we teach, right? It's interesting. I make them believe that unless they could do something perfectly, it's not worth doing at all, and that would paralyze their progress. Isolation. I push them to disconnect from supportive communities and relationships, so they feel alone in their struggles, make it hard to break through, right? It's what I said just a couple minutes ago. It's like if you feel discouraged, that is when you don't want to reach out, but that is when you need to reach out to your coach, to this group, to whatever, to a friend. It's crucial. Crucial. And then, yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. Super interesting. All right. Can I get a copy of that chart? Yeah, let me put it in the comments. Let me put it in the comments. Oh, can I not put it in the comments? All right, I'm just going to post a link to it so you can check it out. But there you go. Link is in the comments. Laura says, I'm super curious if I'm the only one that's not a nurse that is watching this and part of this group. That's watching it right now? Probably, yeah. Yeah, we have a super small amount of people that are nurses or not nurses. Yes, you're the 1% and 2% of non-nurses. You feel special. That's funny. I love it. Very good. Yeah, it's really interesting to think about the simplicity of making these changes, but at the same time, it's not always easy. We have to fight the greatest part of human nature to do this, and that is instant gratification. But I think the more that we can reduce cheap dopamine, the less we care for instant gratification, right? So hopefully this is beneficial. Any questions, comments, anything you guys want to talk about or hear me rant about? I'm here to serve you. I want to make sure that on this Saturday, you're feeling good, you're feeling empowered, you're ready to move forward. Feel free to let me know too, like, hey, are there any obstacles right now that you're dealing with? Maybe there's someone in this chat now or on the recording that has something to share, or maybe I have something to share and we can help you get through. I'd love to know. I know there's a delay on this too, so it'll probably be a second. So I changed my setup as well. So now I have this beautiful canvas behind me, right? This beautiful wall. I have something really exciting coming for this wall. I'm pumped. I think it's going to, be a really awesome visualization or really awesome visual for the impact that we've had with our in-body transformation so far. And man, I gotta go get a haircut so I can stop wearing hats. So long right now. So long. I can help a lot of people here reduce your cravings. It's called Get Colitis and you have no appetite. Yeah, how are you doing with that, Laura? Are you have you checked out the low residue diet? Are you feeling any more certainty towards the foods that you can eat? Laura says I'm actually losing weight and I'm still watching though, Ryan. That's great. That's good. Yeah, keep losing. I'm happy to hear it. And I want to restate that again just for anyone, watching. It's our mission to have an impact, here in the community, whether you use a coach or not. A coach is helpful. A coach is great. A coach will help you get there faster and guaranteed. But, if you're in a tough financial spot, we still want to serve you. So, don't hesitate to ask, or if you need anything, I'm here for you. But with that in mind, I think we're good. I think we're done. I think we're good. I might go take a little nap before my son wakes up. My son's napping right now, and then probably gonna have a little bit of a chill time. Go in the pool, go grocery shopping, all that fun stuff. Get ready for a kickoff week tomorrow, or get ready to kick off the week tomorrow. I love working out on Sundays. I worked out this morning too, but it was like pretty low key. Sundays are like an explosive day, I love it so much. Anywho, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. If this was helpful at all, feel free to like the video. You can comment below. Again, it gets more people to see it. And if you are interested in coaching, I'll put a link above or below. You can apply to work with us and see if it's a good fit. And that's it. I'll see you guys soon. And have a great weekend. I'll probably see you tomorrow, but enjoy your weekend and keep it going. See you soon. Bye. Nurses rule. What?